All right, welcome back to the 80 Star Basketball Channel, the only star basketball channel where we turned 50. So I missed last week. Some of you obviously noticed um, that. So I turned. I had a party on kind of a party weekend and kind of a little trip planned over to Vegas with a friend, and we had a couple of birthday parties together. So I missed last week's video, and I am going to probably start doing. I might miss a week here and there for doing some of them. I don't know if I'll be 2 or 3 times, but maybe sometimes 4 times a month. I'm getting into a busy time of the year for me, and it's been very very busy already. So I've been able to do a little less in star and everything and cards and involvement. So that's basically kind of what's been happening. But I had a fun time. And what's odd is I ran into Jeff Wilson. Um, 2 days ago, I was on my way to the see the Wizard of Oz at Sphere, and I ran into Jeff Wilson. So I did get his number, and I did. He knew who I was, and so we were going to get together and do an interview and talk about what he's seeing, and obviously he's been a part of, whether you like him or not. I think he is a net positive for the hobby, and I think he's done. Obviously, a very successful and good job of, especially with Star. He believes that I don't want to put words in his mouth because I'm going to be asking these questions, but he seems to be leaning towards that these are the rookie cards and the true, cards for Michael Jordan and other Hall of Famers, just like I do. So I had a quick chat with him, and then we'll hopefully get him on the show soon. But obviously, I want to talk about, one thing that's been happening the last couple of weeks is record-setting sales. Everything's on fire as far as Jordan, Star, and the Hall of Famers are still warm, but things like bags are heating up. And I did want to show these off. Obviously, the one kind of bellwether card is the PSA 7. I don't know why, but it kind of has become that. And it's just this mid-range card for other collections, but for the PSA 7 to get for a Jordan 101 is very difficult. It is not easy. So, and that sale has obviously smashed a new record with the 99,000 mark. This was huge on Fanatics, and everyone knows about this by now. Obviously, kind of huge in the hobby. But this one was centered, had a 15% kind of had the sticker on it for the 15%, and I think that was due to the centering. This is one of the better center cards I've ever seen. So this was definitely a higher end copy. Top 15%. So that's why we saw the exceptionally high sale. To be honest, I was a little nervous seeing 99% because I don't. There's one thing I'm concerned of, and that's that all of a sudden, if on a big price jump, you're going to have a bunch of people try and sell off and cash out, kind of the thing, and that's fine. That's their prerogative. The only thing about it is if you get a wave that can bring prices down all of a sudden, and then the mentality goes the other way. So still, there's I did check, and we've only seen a couple up for auction. I know a few more are going to be coming up here shortly, but as far as PSA 6s and 7s, 6.5s, everything's buy it nows. So still just a very, very low supply, and that's what's going to do it, is having a low supply. So, this has just been an impressive run. But one thing I did want to note, this was looks like a very much someone got a steal of a price, the 61,000 on Heritage that ended on October 24th, the entire set. And I thought this was pretty impressive that they picked this up for this cheap, 61,000 for a BGS 8 included, and a BGS 7 and an 8.5 of the Barkley. Only a 4 here on the 288, but the 288s are they're just tough. But everything else was this was in bags, so I was shocked. I keep saying, and don't sell sets this low. I don't know why people, I get it's convenient, but from a price perspective, you're just going to get destroyed when you put things up in a set. You will do much, much better piecing things out. But, to each their own. So I did want to note on Heritage and kind of look at a few things as I was going through, but notice bag sales. Bags are jumping up. Look, an 8,000 for a Miller Light bag. This one went for, and that was on October 26th. This is the Heritage auction ending October 26th, and we had 6,000 for this Gatorade bag. This was a little eye popping to me, probably because the card is just super super nice. But that went for 15. But Heritage has some good bags. Crunch almost went for around 9K, about 8.5, and an all rookie team for 10K. So bags obviously doing very very well, and yeah, we had the 10 card set right here for 12,200. So I thought this was just good to see some of these prices. There's an 8.5. 117 for 4,000. So obviously these all have taken quite a jump. And it's very, very good to see. And, some of the other Hall of Famers starting to catch up a little, things like this, kind of surprising to see this Drexler. But again, things go by how PSA would look at it. And PSA, even though I think that this is very well centered card from the cut lines from the uncut sheets, this is where this card would be pretty much a 9.5 in my mind. BGS gave this an 8.5, and I'm sure PSA would not do well with it, so it kind of stayed in here. But that was for 9K. So obviously, price is jumping. I don't see any reason other than, again, I do want to say, but I have to play devil's advocate, and I also want to say that, macroeconomic, you never know what's going to happen, and that can shift, the mentality of this. And other people are getting very cautious because cards, and especially Jordan cards, have gone skyrocketing. So there is that. A lot of the social media people are saying that, and people are very, very concerned. But I continue to believe that I think these are going to be less affected by either of those two headwinds, if you will, or things that may pop up simply because of rarity. And these will survive much better because people who don't want to give them up and are glad that they have them will continue. There's just so many less people because if more people start selling, like an 86 Fleer, there's 100 more of each one to a 101. You can get more people selling off, and that can affect the price easier. So again, not too much to note other than some of these sales here. And oh, sorry. Last thing I do want to say is I did look at the 195. Just had a BGS 8 go for 15.6. A few days ago, looks like October 26th, we had 5,000 for BGS 6.5. And a 7.5 went for 8,400, and a PSA 6 went for 8,000. These are obviously all big jumps. Odd, a few days before it went for 6,300. So interesting to note there. And as far as the 288, obviously had that auto at BGS 8 with the auto at 276. I mean, these are just insane prices they're awesome to see. BGS 7.5 for 9,000 and a PSA 6 for 12. That's like, wow, what an exceptional jump. These were just 5,500 not too long ago. So a big price jump. And what's going to define everything is again, it's going to be herd mentality. All of a sudden macro, and if the whole card market starts to fall, these will go down just like everything. But I think they're a little more insulated than other things. So anyway, at 597, one thing I noticed that was kind of funny, I trickled up. We're almost at 600 subs. So if you haven't, subscribe. And yeah, again, I probably will miss a week here and there, but not planning to. Just know that sometimes as I get busy and things come up, it's just a busy time for me. So hopefully we'll continue to have some cool auctions to report and have some cool things to talk about. And I will see you at the next video.